Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Lords of the Night. With me, as always, is the Lord of Pain, Ranting Monkey.
Hello.
And not here presently, and perhaps not going to show up, is the Lord of Pennies, Satsu 2 cents. Satsu is spending some time with his family tonight. We don't know if or when he'll be able to join. If he does, wonderful. If not, well, it's the Scribe and Money Show. Now, for those of you who are here, I have reset my sound again using Sinatra's recommendations. You will have to let me know in the chat, because I can't tell from my side, whether or not I sound okay, or too quiet, or too loud. I'm not currently eating the microphone. I'm about a foot away, so you guys tell me. But elsewise, until we get there at least, hopefully you can hear Monkey fine. You're really low in volume. Really low. Okay. Well, that answers that question, I guess. Let's see what happens if I put that up. Am I any better now? I guess we'll find out. Thank you, Cryptic. My Star Wars obsessed son wouldn't stop asking for a car, so I bought him a toy Yoda. Okay. All right. Some people say I sound fine. Other people say I'm quiet. Well, I've turned it up a little bit, so you guys let me know. I sound very low. Okay. Well, anyway, Monkey, how are you?
Okay. Not bad for a monkey day. How you doing, Scribe?
Well, I am working to be heard at present, apparently. So I've turned the... Okay, so anyway, the background settings are all Sinatra, and then I turned down the main volume because he says he turns down his main volume meter thing. So I've jacked that all the way back up to the top. People are saying I'm better now. Okay, well, I'll leave it there. If that's the best I can do right now, that's the best I can do. So what I'm going to end up having to do, guys, probably this weekend, is I will do a test stream. And all I will do on this stream is fiddle with the sound settings with an audience that can hear it through OBS until I get something that the general consensus is it sounds good, and I'll never touch it again. But for the time being, this is as best as I can get without messing with stuff in the background and perhaps risking screwing up the entire stream. So for now, if this is bad, I apologize. The best I can do. Maybe I can turn Monkey down a little bit in order that it doesn't become sort of like a relative thing. But anyway. Yeah, I forget where we were. How am I? I'm okay. It was a work day. What can I tell you? Not too bad, not too horrible. We have a birthday. Oh, it's the Minions of the Zoo birthday. Do we sing to abstract concepts?
No, I will be happy to tell them happy birthday, but I'm not singing to an abstract idea.
Okay. Well,
you can sing if you want.
Yeah, Minions of the Zoo. Congratulations on turning 2?
2 years. Yes, that's
2
awesome.
years.
By the way, guys,
Oh my God.
that's amazing.
Well, there you go.
So happy birthday to you. There you
go. Let's see, Minions of the Zoo.
It's not. They're not. That's not a person.
Like a lion or a tiger or something. Okay. Anyway, Monkey Dick, Jim Jones, movies, which is exemplified with tonight's theme, after a fashion. Video games. Hit that like button if you have not already, and please share our stuff. And as far as hitting the like button, a whole slew of you have not. I'd appreciate it if you would, but it's up to you. I mean, I guess, if you like the show, if you don't like the show. Yeah, so I was searching around trying to find something with a trio of familiar characters, and I came across this, and I was like, that'd be perfect. I had hoped to have a couple extra little special effects. There's actually one special effect that I don't have going right now that is very individual requisite, just to be cryptic about it, and not cryptic our viewer, but cryptic in general. So I will send the link to the stream to the requisite person, and if they happen to be able to join tonight, then the extra special effect will come into play for a little bit, just because I'm a stinker like that. But just so I can be more opaque about it. Send them the link if I Find the... Okay. Sorry, guys. Live TV.
Wait.
What can I tell you? What?
Can you sing Happy Birthday for my little sister Haley? It's her 7th birthday.
Who's
Now.
little sister Haley?
This is Kyle.
Oh, Kyle. Okay.
Kyle, I would be happy to sing for Haley because Haley's a person. Plus, she's 7. How can you not sing for somebody who's 7? Haley, I understand your birthday. I hope you had a great one. God, what a great age, man. I miss being young, and your job is playing. I hope you do your job well. Play even when they tell you not to. Haley, this one is for you. And a 1 and a 2. Happy birthday to you. Satsu would say something here. Happy birthday to you. He'd say something here as well. Happy birthday, dear Haley. He'd say happy birthday right here. Happy birthday to you. Haley, I hope you had a good one. Don't let him beat the child out of you. I'm just saying.
Okay, well then. And Haley, from this point on, you might want to not listen because we're going to say some bad words. Probably.
Really bad stuff. You
Yeah.
can go to sleep now. It's past your bedtime.
Yeah, go to bed. Well, shall we get into the schnuzz? Because it's been a very active day in the schnuzz.
Sure.
Now, I don't have it in front of me, but I've heard it so much today that I'm just going to sort of recite it from memory.
I have a feeling I know where we're going.
Okay. Is it the shooting last night?
No, is that what we're going to?
Yeah, I was just going to give a brief rundown because stuff happened since then, obviously. So the shooting in Pennsylvania wrapped up, or I should say the standoff in Pennsylvania after the shooting of the police officers wrapped up, I think, shortly after we ended the show last night. Thank you, Non Vitae Rex. God looking at that picture. Remember when your favorite franchises were good? I remember. Yeah,
I remember.
Pepperidge Farms remembers. Thank you, Rex. So yeah, shortly after we wrapped up the show last night, the shooter was arrested, alive, amazingly enough, and so far as I know, unharmed. His name is Maurice Hill, if I'm remembering correctly. And Maurice Hill has a, rather extensive criminal history.
I'm shocked.
Like a super duper extensive criminal history wherein there is no reason under the sun why he should be in possession of a firearm given his convictions in the past for possessing a firearm illegally, plus assault, plus a whole bunch of other things. But yet he obviously had a firearm, an assault rifle of some kind. And so now the debate rages once again. Would any gun laws have prevented this? And the answer is no, because if you outlaw the guns, or you outlaw someone from having the guns, who gets the guns? Outlaws. So, yeah.
I saw that he had a record and stuff, but I did not see, was this gun legally his?
No, it's so far, now, from what I've heard, and, and again, this is stuff I've just read in passing over the course of the day, the gun was assembled from various other gun parts, so it had no registration. It was a ghost gun, they call it. So it was sort of like cobbled together and still functioning. I mean, it was all the parts were meant to go together, but it was not a
Franken gun?
Franken gun, there you go, yeah. So it was an illegal firearm, unregistered, whole 9 yards, but he had it. So, yeah.
Huh.
So anyway, Angry Illinoisans, can someone tell me why no Satsu? Satsu is spending time with his family tonight, specifically his mama. They're off and shopping baby stuff, as far as I understand it. So Satsu may join the show later, or he may not. So you just have to deal with me and Monkey tonight. Sorry, guys.
That's right.
Sorry, not sorry. So just that little update. So he's under arrest. The 6 police officers who were shot miraculously are going to be fine. So far as I know, they're all going to eventually fully recover, although one guy had a real close call with a graze to the head, but Yeah, so there you go. Thank you, Cryptic, again. I saw a midget wearing a t-shirt with the slogan, "I hate black people" on it. I thought to myself, that's a little racist.
Cynic.
Okay,
Or
thank you,
Cryptic.
Cryptic.
Sorry, I said Cynic. Cryptic, well done, sir.
Thank you, Cryptic.
Go sit in the corner.
So now, of course, will be the process of trying this guy, which will probably take years, unless he pleads guilty, but who knows, and it's kind of a, at least for now, a non-issue, save for the continuing arguments about gun control laws and whether they would have done anything, and answer's probably no. But that aside, shall we talk about... Oh, okay.
Hang on. Let's take a look at that. Would gun control laws have done anything? He had a gun he shouldn't have had.
Mm-hmm.
He had a gun it was illegal for him to have.
Mm-hmm.
I think that gives you your answer.
Yep. Yeah, the laws that we have in place, well, either they're not effective enough to stop this guy from having one, or they're not being enforced thoroughly enough to prevent this guy from having one. I don't know. It might be, 6 of one thing, half a dozen of the other. I don't know. But yeah, so in almost all these situations now, whether you have a mass shooting of just some rando deciding to walk into public place and start firing off bullets, or you have a career criminal who shouldn't have a gun in the first place, so far as I can tell, none of the existing laws and none of the proposed laws would have stopped any of these people from either attaining a gun, and certainly not stopped them from deciding to walk into a public place or holding themselves up in their house and using said gun on innocent police or innocent people or police officers. Yeah, I mean, and this isn't me like some super pro-gun guy. This is just trying to look at it pragmatically. And pragmatically speaking, like with everything else, a locked door only keeps out an honest man. So I don't know. I don't know that there's a solution to this through legislation. I'm not saying that legislation shouldn't be considered, or that there's no place for it, or that, some might not winnow down the occurrences of such things in the future. It's very difficult to tell, how to prove a negative. Like, well, we passed this law, now there are less mass shootings. Well, is that because of the law, or just because there's less mass shootings? You don't know. So, anyway, moving on from that, how about Israel?
See, that's where I thought you were going at the beginning.
Yeah, I know.
This has been all over today. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and I saw it very, very early in the morning.
Oy vey.
Yeah, so the short version is this, and the main points, I don't really need to read a CNN story. I've been so engulfed in this stuff today, guys, these particular stories, that I can almost recite them from memory. So, Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib wanted to make a trip to Israel as representatives of the United States, specifically their constituents, etc. Because of their comments in the past regarding Israel and intimated or otherwise Jewish people, the nation of Israel was not particularly keen on inviting them or welcoming them to their country. This was now at the time that I saw this story early this morning. At least the story at the time was that Israel was deliberating over whether or not to welcome those two to their country. And then our president, in his finite wisdom, decided to weigh in and encourage Israel not to let them visit.
Said they'd be weak if they did, actually.
Yes, Israel would be weak if they allowed those two to visit. Before we get there, thank you, Snubberth. You getting Bernie Sanders ads all over the stream for me, Scribe. I found that amusing. Really? Huh, so... yeah, that is kind of odd, because I've been told that I'm a Trump defender. Well, I've also been told I have Trump derangement syndrome. Yeah, I don't know. I certainly don't support Bernie, but apparently my stream does. Somehow? Okay. Anyway, so Trump, in a tweet, told Israel they would be weak to allow them to visit. Now, as soon as I saw that, And I will go to my this bleeds over into fucketry time because it's kind of unavoidable. Let me find it because okay, so this was the New York Times tweet. Breaking news: President Trump urged Israel to deny entry to two U.S. Congresswomen, Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib, in an unusual effort to punish domestic rivals. Well, I don't know if you can discern his specific motivation, but there you go. But I said this, oh, for fuck's sake, Trump, you couldn't just leave them alone on this one. If Israel made a call on their own, fine. But actively working as president to bar elected officials from traveling to an allied nation? Idiocy. Now, I want to clarify, Trump did not tell Israel not to let them come. Okay? And Trump's words may or may not have had an effect on Israel's decision. I don't know. But at the time, my interpretation of that was it was not the place of the president to interfere in this particular situation or to weigh in on it.
Let's pause there for just a second, Scribe, because it has been reported. Mm-hmm. I believe it was even as of last Thursday, or maybe it was just even earlier this Thursday, in the New York Times article that kicked this all off, that behind the scenes, the White House had been trying to get Israel to tell them not, or that they couldn't come.
Well, then that makes even.
But again, that's also one of those sources familiar with the matter thing. Well, the only thing we do know for sure is that the tweet that Trump tweeted out, it would be weak for them to let them come. And again, I'm with you. You know what, Trump, this was fucking retarded. I'm sorry, guys, for those of you who don't like the R word. This was fucking retarded. There was no reason for him to say jack shit here.
Okay, and there's two levels to this. Okay, on the one hand,
several levels.
Well, yeah, on the one hand, like I said, it is given the circumstances. Okay, whether you like them or not, whether you agree with them or not, Omar and Tlaib are elected representatives of the United States. They, for all intents and purposes and by law, represent their constituents. If the two of them, for whatever reason, again, whether you agree with them or not, thought there was any advantage to making a diplomatic visit to an allied nation that they thought in some way, shape, or form would benefit their constituents, that is on them to deal with. That is on them to arrange and make any negotiations if necessary, etc. That's on them. That should be their responsibility, and that should be on them to rise or fall on their own merits. Okay? It is not appropriate, in my opinion at least, in this situation with an allied nation for the president to weigh in either behind the scenes arm twisting or even rhetorically, publicly, to try to discourage a nation from allowing our representatives to visit. Now that's on the sort of the professional side of things. On the let's be pragmatic political optics side of things, what has Trump done here but victimize representatives that are already firebrands against his position? Okay, and they have a legitimate claim now because there was executive interference in their representative responsibilities or their representative efforts. Okay, and that just is all sorts of no. The executive in this, like in a situation like this, the executive should not be meddling, I use the word myself, meddling in legislative activities like this. Under these circumstances, if this was a time of war or something, or if Israel was an enemy or something, maybe that would make some kind of sense. I don't know, but not like this. So I don't. This is all sorts of stupid. This is stupid on a political level. This is stupid on a professional level, and just on a governmental level. All right, there's my rant for a moment.
I know you're fine. From Trump. There was dude. No reason to do this. And if you were going to do it in the background. Why the fuck are you doing it on Twitter? Now, I'm not suggesting he should be doing it. I want to make that very clear. Yeah. There's no reason for him to get involved here, other than pettiness. That's what it was. And if you don't think so, then you're either not paying attention or you are way, way, way too deep in your Trump love. However, there are a few things I want to point out here because I've seen a whole bunch of hand waving here. One of the things that I've seen is how dare they not let U.S. representatives who were duly elected into Israel? Well, they weren't elected in Israel. It's okay for Israel to say. Now, I don't necessarily agree with what they did here. I think it's kind of short-sighted at best. But where I do give them a pass, Israel itself, not Trump. Trump, you were a douchebag here. These are two Congress people who actively support BDS. For those of you who don't know what that is, BDS is boycott. Let's say that again. Boycott, divest, and sanction Israel. I do find it funny, very funny, that Talib and Omar are so offended that they've been kicked out of a place that they're telling people to boycott.
Yeah.
That makes me laugh. And you know what? If Trump had kept his fucking mouth shut, that would be the only story.
Exactly.
That's it.
Exactly.
And instead, no, it's about him now.
Yeah. If they were doing this simply to poke the bear, let's say, because they knew Israel would deny them just on the basis of everything else, and then it would make it, maybe they thought it would make Israel look bad or something. Again, that would be entirely on them.
Yep.
If Trump had not just stuck his foot in it.
If he just stayed out of it.
And here's the other thing, too. Okay, so on the one hand, I also want to clarify, Israel is a sovereign nation. They can let in or let out whoever they want. If they don't want to have them over, that's entirely up to them. Whether you agree with Israel or not, it is their right, it is their prerogative to make that decision. On the other side, too, and I said this on Twitter, I forget to someone, I said, you know, the line between simply a personal flippant comment and a declaration from the office of the president doesn't get any fuzzier than when Trump comments on some international diplomacy issue. And I forget who it was, somebody in the chat said, yeah, but the Congress doesn't, or the House of Representatives doesn't have a diplomatic role in our country. Hey, every elected official that goes abroad is representing this country. Okay? I mean, whether they have an official capacity in that or not, if a senator or a representative from this country goes to another country in the capacity of their office, which is what they were doing, they are playing a diplomatic role. So there was that. I mean, again, like I say, maybe they don't have an official diplomatic role, but that's how it is. When you're on duty, you're on duty.
Well, I've also seen people who I know, because we've had countries suggest, and certainly cities outright say that Trump would be barred from going there.
Right.
And people are like, why would they ever? Apply the same standards. That's all I'm saying about everyone. Just why is it so hard to apply the same standards?
No.
However, the one thing I do see keep coming, and this is coming from your Congress people, guys, that she's a duly elected member of Congress, as though that means they have to let her in.
Right. No, that's not.
That's nonsense.
No,
that's nonsense. But Trump, man, what the fuck were you doing here?
Yeah. Again, this was Omar.
It's childish.
This was Omar and Talib's situation to win or lose on their own. There was no need to interfere at all. And like I say, if they were doing it simply to bait or to troll Israel or something, well, that would entirely be on them. But now, like I say, they can legitimately say executive interference in their roles as congresspeople, whether it's true or not constitutionally, that's the press. So,
well, here's the other thing. Wasn't it like a month ago that everybody was like, oh, Talib and them will never take an invitation to Israel?
Well, do
you remember that?
Yeah, they weren't invited. They kind of tried to invite themselves. So
right, and well, no, even before that, there was people. I forget who it was. Somebody invited them to go with them to Israel.
Okay,
and they're like, they'll never take it. They'll never take it. Mm-hmm. Like, well, now they're trying to, and and again, look, they were not going to Israel because they gave a fuck about Israel or the Israelis. They were going there for propaganda for Palestinians. That's what these two were doing.
Yeah, and they would have, and as far as their rhetoric was concerned, whether Israel let them in or not, they would have won. Israel not letting them in shows Israel's intolerance for, whatever, and gives them more fodder. If they had let them in, that would, I don't know, allow them to be walking around with Netanyahu or something. So There was no lose scenario or lose condition for Omar and Tlaib to attempt this, but now they've won in so many ways with Trump getting involved. So, anyway.
Oh yeah, I agree with you on that 100%.
All right. Well, I don't
Trump.
wanna...
Sometimes it's okay to keep your mouth shut.
I know. I mean, how many times now have we just sort of said, dude, if you would just let it go its own course.
Just shut up.
Let it go its own course. I mean, this is, I think the smartest thing, if I remember correctly, the smartest thing that Obama did during his first re-election campaign, and his only re-election campaign, obviously, was to stay quiet through the majority of the Republican primaries and debates and everything.
Yep.
Just let them eat themselves alive. Let them hoist themselves on their own petard. It doesn't require his comment. Let the American people see them for what they are without him getting involved, because then it takes the focus off of them and whatever they're trying to do, and makes him the focus of it. And Trump doesn't seem to understand that concept in any way, shape, or form. So.
I will say, there's times though it seems to work out just fine for him.
Sometimes,
and I don't know how.
It's a crapshoot, but most times, in this one, this was an easy one. This was an easy one. He just had to stay away from it.
Yeah.
Read the chat, LOL. What am I missing? Faithless. Their role is not international relations. Their role is to write laws and represent their constituents, not boycotts. Yeah, but there's nothing that says they can't also go to other countries or to state their views elsewise, and that becomes part of their image, if not part of their constitutional duties.
I got to be honest with you. I don't understand the it's not their role kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Congress does this all the time. The time.
Yeah.
You know what? Let's say it's not their role. It is something they can do, and they do often.
Right. I mean, the vice president's role technically is only to break ties.
Yeah,
that's it. But is that all the vice president has done or can do or can be empowered to do over the course of time? No, it's sort of like, and I can't quote it exactly. I think it's the 10th Amendment or whatever, because I'm a real American here, guys. That says, those laws not covered by the federal government are allowed to the states. That kind of thing.
The laws not specifically granted to the federal government are relegated to the people and the states. Yes, that's the 10th Amendment.
Okay, so and this is me being so articulate about my own country's laws. Anything that the rules about being a representative or a congressman, whatever it doesn't say you can't do, doesn't mean you can't, and you can. And ta-da! It becomes part of your shtick, even if it's not part of your official duties. And that's been going on forever. That's not something new.
Well, there's nothing wrong with it either.
No, not necessarily. I mean, it depends on what you're doing, I guess. But
that's another thing I will say is that there have been people on the protect these two idiots. Because I look, guys, I'm still not on the side of these two fucking idiots. I think they're, fucking idiots. But I did see a lot of, they're U.S. representatives, so they should be allowed to go. I wonder what they would say if, because there were a lot of representatives in Ghana not too long ago. What would those same people be saying if Ghana said Steve King couldn't come? Would they be like, oh wait, hey, he's an elected U.S. official. Right. Who cares that he's a racist? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't really. I understand why Israel did it. Mm-hmm. When you have two people who are actively talking about boycotting your country, all right, I understand it. But again. Yeah. My whole issue here is Trump had no real business getting involved.
Okay, I want to get one more story in before we get to
sure
audience stories. So this happened today. So this got so pushed under the radar by everything else going on, but I think it's a relatively big deal if the reporting is accurate, as they say. GE stock has worst day in 11 years after Madoff whistleblower calls it a bigger fraud than Enron.
Oof.
Okay, now for those of you that aren't aware, so Bernie Madoff, one of the biggest fraudsters, if not the biggest fraudster in history, there was a quantitative analyst for hedge funds named Harry Markopolos, or Markopolis, depending on how you pronounce it. He was working for this hedge fund one day, and this guy walks in his office and says, hey, this Madoff guy is doing this crazy setup and making tons of money. I want you to analyze this so we can duplicate it. And within 3 hours, as the story goes, Harry Markopolos analyzed this pattern of things and says, this guy's a fraud. And that was something like, I want to say 10 some odd years before Madoff was finally caught. And Harry Markopolos worked for the next 10 years with him and a small team of people trying to convince the SEC and a whole bunch of other regulatory people that Madoff was a fraud. Hey, here's some proof. Madoff is a fraud. You give me 5 minutes inside of his counting room or whatever, and I can prove to you that he's a fraud. And they didn't listen, and they didn't listen, and they didn't listen. And eventually, after, of course, Madoff was caught, he wrote a book called No One Would Listen. And I read this book shortly after the Madoff thing, after the book came out, and of course after the Madoff thing happened. And it's an amazing story. I mean, it's one of those things where like somehow they were able to take something that is as dry as economics and investing and turn it into almost like a spy thriller because of all the ins and the outs and the dangers and the people involved. And so this morning, when I saw Madoff whistleblower calls GE bigger fraud than Enron, and knowing the detail that this guy went into and the knowledge and the intelligence this guy has when it comes to analyzing, finances and everything else, I was like, oh shit, GE is going to go bankrupt. That was my first thought. Now that might be a bit, hyperbolic, but things ain't looking good. So let me read the story and then we'll get into your guys' stories. General Electric fought back Thursday night after the company was accused of fraud and its stock experienced the worst one-day percentage drop since April 2008. General Electric shares plunged more than 11% Thursday after Harry Markopolos, who is famous for blowing the whistle on Bernie Madoff's Ponzi scheme in 2008, well, he actually did it many, many years before 2008, but that's when it finally came out, accused GE of orchestrating a massive fraud. GE CEO Larry Culp on Thursday bought 252,200 shares at $7.93 per share, a purchase worth about $2 million, according to an SEC filing. The buy helped bump GE's share price around 2% in after-hours trading. So one guy did his best to manipulate his company's stock. Good job. Culp's ownership of GE stock nearly doubled this week after an earlier purchase on Tuesday. He now owns more than 1% of the company's outstanding shares. That's not a good sign, guys. GE board director Leslie Seidman called the fraud allegations baseless and inflammatory. In an interview on CNBC's Closing Bell Thursday evening, she said Markopolos' claims do not, quote, reflect the GE I know, unquote. Seidman chairs of the board's audit committee. Seidman chairs of? How about just Seidman chairs the board's audit committee? Good job, CNN. Markopolos said in a report released Thursday that GE was hiding nearly $40 billion of losses in its insurance business. He said this is the largest case of accounting fraud he and his team have investigated. Quote, in fact, GE's $38 billion in accounting fraud amounts to over 40% of GE's market capitalization, making it far more serious than either the Enron or WorldCom accounting frauds, unquote, Markopolos wrote in the report, referring to the scandals that eventually helped bankrupt energy giant Enron in 2001 and long-distance telecom WorldCom in 2002. GE
You have a super chat, by the way, bud.
I don't. 1 second.
Okay.
GE strongly denied Markopolos' allegations. Quote, the claims made by Mr. Markopolos are meritless, GE said in a statement, adding that it has, quote, never met, spoken to, or had contact with Mr. Markopolos, and we are extremely disappointed that an individual with no direct knowledge of GE would choose to make such serious and unsubstantiated claims. Did you read the report? By any chance? Thank you, Snubbirth. You get... Wait. I have a super chat? Oh, my chat froze. That's why. Sorry about that, guys. Thank you, Three-Sided Coin. Hey, econ and investing isn't dry. It's fun. This is what I have to tell myself to keep sane. Prize. Yes, if there's one person in our audience that knows a bit more about investing and finance and everything else than anybody else, it's Three-Sided Coin. Thank you, Three-Sided Coin. And thank you, Connor Johnson. I've never gotten around to watching This Is Spinal Tap. If any of you have seen it, would you recommend that I give it a watch? I would. The first one's great.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, This Is Spinal Tap is great. Especially...
Classic.
especially puppet show. I won't tell you what that means, but once you watch the movie, once you get to puppet show, it's great. Anyway, this goes on for a bit, but that's the gist. Now, if you've read No One Would Listen, you would know the extensive work, at least on Madoff, and all the research and all of the double checking and all of the second guessing of himself that Markopolos did over the course of the years to make sure, am I wrong about this? Can this guy really be doing this somehow? And every time they thought, like, no, this doesn't make any sense. Mathematically, it makes no sense. And they've been investigating GE for at least 2 or 3 years at this point. And again, if you've read Markopolos' book, and, like I say, you make your own judgments, but I don't think that the man that was responsible for uncovering Madoff and gathering all the evidence that he did over those years, and then having to say, hey, SEC, why the hell didn't you listen to me? I don't think he would come out with a report like this if there wasn't some merit to it. So GE's going to be under a microscope real quick if it hasn't already. Thank you, Non Vitae Rex. When's the No One Would Listen movie coming out? Yeah, well, telling the story from his end probably would make a really great movie because it's a lot of just people talking and looking at numbers and stuff. It's a much more interesting narrative story. There's been plenty of Madoff movies that have come out. Probably the best one was, at least as far as like dramatizations, was the one where Robert De Niro played Madoff. I don't know. I forget what that was called. But anyway, that was an okay one. But there are better documentaries from PBS and places that talk about how Madoff all worked. But anyway, so
now the one thing I will say about that is I get that he did extensive stuff on Madoff and all that, but sometimes the people who are like that, who've done that kind of stuff, end up chasing dragons. If you know what I mean. And again, that's not to say this happening with him. My thing there would be, dude, you better be as on point as you have been before, because if you tank a stock like that without actual information, that can come back on you.
Yeah.
So I hope he's been just as well. It's sad to hope he's been just as thorough as he was in the past, but whew,
well,
yeah,
I mean, that
doesn't sound good.
That had to be one of the considerations he and his team made before coming out with this report. Like I say, there was too much to risk if you've got this wrong, if you start casting aspersions and you start spiking a stock like that. And this guy doesn't need the money. This guy, he got, aside from the Madoff thing and several other things he's worked on since, he's gotten the whistleblower bounties that have come from such things. So he's not hurting, and he was a hedge fund guy, and he's a quantitative analyst and everything. So he's not hurting for money.
Well, and in those cases, it's usually not about the money. It's again, I hope he's dotted the I's and crossed the T's.
If he hasn't, then he deserves whatever he gets. But I'm just saying that from his track record, this isn't something to ignore. And GE will have to do a bit more than just say, this is nonsense. They'll have to take his report and show how he is wrong line by line. That's the only way that investor confidence is going to come back, and that's on them. So.
Oh, yeah.
We'll see. Anyway, guys, sorry for the delay. We'll get on to MSS News. We'll go a few minutes past just for the sake of things since Satsu's not here. So if you have news stories you'd like us to read on the air, please send them to us via Twitter using the hashtag MSSNews. Can't promise we'll get to them all, but I'll do my best. Let's see. First one comes from Frosted Glass. Why are people silent about the abuses and exploitation in porn? They're not. Have you ever seen the documentaries After Porn? There's 2 of them on Netflix. Have you ever read any of the books by any of the longtime porn actresses or actors like Nina Hartley, or looked up the interviews with former porn actors like Asia Carrera, or God, what was that guy's name? Oh, I suddenly forget his name. Anyway, there's several male porn actors too have talked about it. There's lots of people that talk about that stuff, the good, the bad, and the ugly about the porn industry. Sorry. Thank you, Three-Sided Coin. No junk bonds forever. Thank you, Michael Milken.
Stop.
Thank you, Michael Milken. And if you know who Michael Milken is, well, you're You remember the 80s, I guess. All right, let's see. Mia Khalifa, once the most popular porn star on the planet, even though she was only in the industry for like 3 months, which is amazing, honestly, has just done the least sexy thing a woman can do: speak out against the adult entertainment industry. Did she? Because she said that it was a really difficult decision to leave. Okay. The one that made her rich and famous. Well, famous at least, Khalifa has been frank about how little she made during her 3-month stint in porn, about $12,000. So
Let me ask you something.
Sure.
If you only made $12,000 in 3 months, would you consider that a loss?
No. I mean, at $4,000 a month. First off, okay, she was a absolute newcomer to the industry. Obviously, she was only in for 3 months. All right, so she was an unknown, unproven porn actress. Her fame came essentially after she'd already left, because the whole her doing a porn scene in a hijab and the whole 9 yards, that didn't bubble up for quite a little bit in the middle of and just after she got out of the industry.
Mm-hmm.
So her entire cachet in demanding a higher salary didn't really occur until basically she was already out. Okay, and again, if she only got X number of dollars per performance, that's on her. She agreed to it. She agreed to it ahead of time, signed the paper, signed the contract, took the test, did the deal. That's it. She wasn't being any more abused or oppressed or suppressed than anybody else. Now, as far as interpersonal stuff, I don't know. On that part, I couldn't say. I haven't watched all of her interviews, but on a financial level, she wasn't in a position at that point to demand much more than she got. But if she was getting $4,000 a month, okay, times that by 12. Is that what you make in a year? That's not what I make in a year.
That's a lot of money. Especially just for getting fucked a little bit. Her fame all came from that scene. I mean, she didn't have like a great following. And if she did something like a Pornhub version of Dave Chappelle's Comeback,
mm-hmm.
I'm sure they would pay her millions, man.
Sure.
Get her in one more scene. Fuck, man, they would drop $1 million on her instantly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I get that she didn't make, because a lot of people, hey, women go into porn, they make tons of money. If you're one of the stars, sure. And over time, yeah. But, yeah, she made...
Okay.
She made a lot of money.
I gotta throw something in the chat. Duck Dog says, point of order. Satsu's avatar is on Bill Murray's body. It should be on Ernie Hudson's body. Okay, guys. There's only so many pictures of the Ghostbusters where there's just 3 of them. And I didn't want to run into the same situation I had with the last theme where I had like a 4th head I can't put somebody's avatar on and not have them on to make it make sense. So what?
Point of order. None of them were monkeys.
Yeah. None of them were scribes either, or paintings. And it didn't say Lords of the Night over their heads on the sign. This is... I mean, don't get me wrong. I understand nitpicking. I understand nerdy nitpicking. I'm that way too. But here, this is just a matter of convenience of having a threesome in the picture.
Let me help you out here, Scribe. Shh. Just let it happen. There you go.
All right, moving on. Let's see. So next comes from the Demo Man. I wanted to say the Demon Man, but the Demo Man.
I always want to do that on his name.
Yeah, Demo Man.
I actually sang when I sang to him on his birthday on Monkey in the Morning, I sang the wrong name.
Russia signs deal to send Navy to Venezuela, after unacceptable U.S. moves. Okay. What? The Russian military has signed a deal that would allow it to send military ships to Venezuela, expressing support for the Latin American country. I'm having visions of the Cuban Missile Crisis all of a sudden.
Right.
The U.S. has been critical of current Venezuelan president Nicolas Maduro and has backed attempts to replace him. Venezuelan Defense Minister Vladimir... well, that's convenient. Venezuelan Defense Minister Vladimir Padrino met Thursday in Moscow with his Russian counterpart Sergei Shoigu, with whom he, quote, signed an agreement on the visits of warships to the ports of both states and discussed the situation in Venezuela, as well as issues of bilateral military and military technical cooperation, unquote. The deal came as Caracas was in the throes of a months-long political crisis between Moscow-backed President Nicolas Maduro and Washington-backed National Assembly leader Juan Guaido, or Guido, however you say that. Okay, so we have a Russia-America political fight, proxy war taking place, and now we have military ships from one side involved.
Damn Putin controlling Trump. Wait.
This bodes nothing but good news for us in the future.
Doesn't it?
Yeah. Okay, well, something to keep our eyes on when we're not paying attention to tweets, because, what's more important? This one comes from senior staff reporter and chief Florida correspondent, Colleen Bernier.
Hey, baby, love you.
I love you too,
Sorry,
monkey. Sean Taylor was drinking with a friend before arguing over penmanship, tells his friend he wants to have sex with him before pulling out a sword.
I'm sorry.
That was a long sentence of events. Okay, Fort Myers, Florida. It's a tale as old as time. Florida men are enjoying each other's company, having a few drinks, when an argument ensues. Except in this story, Sean Taylor was arrested after attacking his friend with a sword. According to reports, the two Florida men were drinking at Taylor's apartment on Hart Drive in North Fort Myers. The topic of penmanship came up, which led to an argument. After arguing, Taylor told the victim he wanted to have sex with him. The victim declined his advances, according to the report. Taylor then left the room, returned with a sword, and sliced at the victim. The victim fled the residence and was found by someone who then called for help. The victim was treated for wounds on his forearms. The man said that he had known Taylor for 7 years and identified him from a photograph as the person who attacked him. Sean Taylor was charged with aggravated battery with a deadly weapon.
Okay, well, you have a super chat first.
Thank you, Pincalo. Wait, what year is it again? Well, Pincalo, it is the current year.
Okay, so they had an argument over penmanship.
Yes.
Which is weird enough. But then the one told the other that he wanted to have sexual relations with him, and that led him to stab him, stab at him.
You swing a sword at him, yes.
I don't know how to process that.
Thank you, Circus Zero. After left, she blow up and was getting offers like Mia Khalifa. Okay, after she left, she blew up and was getting offers like $5,000 for a sex scene, $10,000 for a anal. Her own words in a video interview. Yeah, she's not hurting for opportunities at this point. If she chose to leave porn, well, more power to her. She doesn't have to be there. If she only got $12,000 for 3 months, again, do the math. That wasn't that bad. And if she'd stayed in for 6 months after her fame spiked, she could have demanded 5 times that for a scene. Financially speaking, so far as I can tell, she was not unfairly treated. Again, I can't say for what happened to her interpersonally or health-wise or emotionally or anything else. But as far as financial, everybody's freaking out over the $12,000. She only made $12,000. Yes. Do the math. Thank you, One Ton Hammer. We need common sense sword laws. Ask Britain. Ask Britain. They're working on forks and knives and spoons. So I'm sure swords are in there somewhere. Moving on. That is a giant tweet without a link. I don't know what that is. Okay, this one comes from Massive Dynamics. Oh no, is it about a hurt kid? Oh no. Oh no. Okay, I will read the headline. I really don't want to look through the pictures or read the story, guys, but Baby's leg came off in his mom's hand after throat infection became sepsis.
Oh, damn.
I'm not going to go any further with that. And guys, I know, and I don't mean to, set aside stories you guys send us, and I'm not a weak-stomached person at heart about some things, but when it comes to children being hurt, unless it's a vital news story or something else. I just yeah.
I'm with you. I can't.
Yeah, I just
we got a rule on monkey in the morning.
yeah.
No.
Yeah, kids and sometimes animals just yeah. Um okay, I think we did that one before. Okay, we did that one. Scrolling down, guys. Okay. This one comes from Peter Stewart. I saw this earlier today. I think Sofane liked it and was inclined to agree. YouTube will block copyright trolls from swiping creators' revenue. Now, that's a fine headline. How are they going to do that? YouTube is making good on its promise to defend its creators from copyright trolls, specifically third parties that claim monetization on users' videos over seconds of content. Well, I have been one of those people who has had their videos claimed in whole for a very brief snippet of music. So this is relevant to my interests. On Thursday, YouTube announced a new policy change that will stop copyright holders from manually claiming monetization of a creator's entire video over short song clips and unintentional audio. Quote, today we're introducing an update to our manual claiming policies, which prevents copyright owners from making money on manual claims for short song segments or unintentional audio, such as background music in a coffee shop, states the company's new policy. YouTube says the move is, quote, intended to improve fairness in the creator ecosystem while still respecting copyright owners' rights to prevent unlicensed use of their content. The company will begin enforcing these new policies in mid-September. Okay. Prior to this policy, a creator who spent hours producing a 10-minute video could suddenly find that a third party claimed monetization on their video. Hello, I'm Scribe, happened to me. This company, which had nothing to do with the creation of the content, would now take any ad revenue it earns because, for example, viewers could hear a few seconds of a song owned by the claimant in the video when a car drove by blasting their radio. Or, in my case, songs that had been advertised and posted on YouTube as copyright royalty-free then somehow became copyrighted. And I had to go through some hoops to get that fixed. Thankfully, that happened. But not because YouTube did anything about it, but because I had to basically go straight to the artists themselves and say, hey, you guys said this, and then this happened, and can you fix this? And they're like, oh, sorry. Which I am appreciative of. Don't get me wrong. I'll be curious to see how effective that is. Because given YouTube's tendency to not even follow their own policies, even after they've done them, and depending on the claimant, if Warner Music Group comes in and tries to claim something, is YouTube going to stand up to them? I don't know. I guess we'll find out.
They should have been doing it all along. We had this, especially with incidental music, that has been decided by the courts already.
Yeah.
And YouTube has let them get away with this shit. And my question is, okay, what are they going to do? You can't come in and just claim it all. Does that mean the person still gets it, or does it go into limbo like they did with
right?
What's the other one where there's where there is a claim and it goes into the limbo thing?
It's a DMCA, and then it goes into limbo, and then after that's settled or whatever, the money goes to the person who won the argument, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing they could have done this entire time is when you get one of those claims, it tells you which section of your video triggered the claim.
Yeah, which is a nice addition.
Yeah, a nice little addition. But in almost all the cases that I dealt with, the timestamp for the claim was something like anywhere from 3 to 10 seconds. Okay? Now, in my book, if that little time frame doesn't trip something like 5 minutes or a minute or something more reasonable, it shouldn't have been allowed to be claimed in the first place. They could have done that a long time ago. So I don't know why they suddenly. I mean, I'm glad they're doing it, and I hope it's effective. But they had every possibility and ability to set a minimum claim requirement on sections of videos, at least before they start talking about being able to appeal or whatever else.
And again, this was something decided by the courts long ago.
Yeah, exactly.
And the other thing, look, I'm glad they're doing it because it's been screwing creators for a long time, even to the point, literally, videos with no music in them getting claimed by people,
Right.
which is a dirty thing. But now they need to work on that whole live thing that got me during the debate, because that one is just a horrible, horrible policy. Get your shit fixed, YouTube.
Okay, we'll do a couple more here, because it'll give us extra time to do internet fucketry ranting, which I'm sure Monkey's got some. This one comes from Nitra Martin, or is it Nitra Martin? Nitra, potato. Let's call the whole thing off. All right. New York University promotes a paper comparing cow insemination to rape and milking cows to sexual abuse.
What now?
Okay. A paper currently being promoted by a New York university calls on society to consider the rampant, quote, sexual exploitation, unquote, of dairy cows by the milk industry in order to, quote, fully fight gendered oppression, unquote. Specifically, the author compares cattle insemination to rape and the milking of cows to sexual abuse. Okay, is this a Poe trolling? Or is this somebody serious?
This is vegan. This is a vegan argument that's been around for a while. It's fucking moronic.
Okay, well, it might be a vegan argument, but do you think the paper itself is legit, or is it a troll?
Oh, I think it's legit. I think they probably heard the vegan argument and they're like, oh, that makes total sense. It is totally rape.
Titled, quote, Readying the Rape Rack, Feminism and the Exploitation of Non-Human Reproductive Systems, unquote. The paper was published Friday in a journal called Dissenting Voices, which is published and edited by the Women's and Gender Studies program at the college at Brockport State University of New York. The published piece aims at discussing the, quote, sexual exploitation of non-human bodies, specifically dairy cows, unquote. The author notes that, quote, as a vegan and animal rights activist,
ding,
unquote, she feels compelled to reveal the, quote, feminist aspects of animal agriculture, unquote, a topic she says is unfortunately, quote, under-researched, unquote, but is nonetheless important because, quote, the same way women's health has been at stake for years, a dairy cow's reproductive system has been poked and prodded, unquote.
Told you. I've dealt with those morons enough. I knew where that was going.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. They believe this shit.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Let's see. Let me find another one here to cap us off. What's... No, I don't want to do that one. Sorry, guys, now I'm being picky. Okay, this one comes from New Fate 26. This might be relevant to SDA's interests. It might be relevant to mine, who knows. Want to write a novel? You'll need a license for that.
Britain?
Novelist John Hart describes his job as, quote, making a living off pure imagination. If you want to view paradise. Sorry. But even this best-selling author of literary thrillers couldn't have imagined that the simple act of typing at his dining room table would make him a criminal in his hometown of Charlottesville, Virginia.
Oh.
Last summer, Charlottesville tax collectors sent John and fellow author Corbin Addison Krug letters demanding thousands of dollars in overdue business license taxes, which they had unknowingly been accruing for years. But John and Corbin aren't businesses. They don't have a storefront that requires city infrastructure, which business license taxes are intended to defray, and their readers span the globe. What's more, if they wrote magazine or newspaper articles instead of novels, they would be automatically exempt from any business license taxes. Charlottesville's new campaign to tax the city's creative community is a transparent attempt to fill its coffers at the expense of honest, hard-working residents. The city's selective targeting of writers is made possible in part because Charlottesville's business license tax language is so vague that it gives local government officials the power to tax or not tax virtually whomever they wish. This unequal treatment isn't just unfair, it's unconstitutional. The U.S. Supreme Court has made it clear that discriminating between different forms of speech based on their content violates the First Amendment rights of speakers. The court has also long held that under the 14th Amendment's due process guarantee, laws must be, quote, sufficiently explicit, unquote, so they cannot be arbitrarily enforced and so citizens can understand exactly what conduct is punishable. Charlottesville's business tax license application fails both tests. Yeah, that's fucking stupid.
It's fucking nonsense.
Yeah.
I've heard of them trying that before, and yeah, I don't believe that'll hold up if it's fought.
Yeah, I'm sure the two of them and a class action otherwise will get that taken up pretty quick, because that's pretty dumb. Because I would hate to have that happen. Can you imagine that happening in... Well, I mean, if it applies there, what if you're a blogger?
Oh yeah, it would apply. It
would apply to everybody. If I'm a blogger,
yeah, it would apply to you and me right now.
If I posted on Facebook, anything. If I tweeted, yeah. So yeah, that's gonna have to be shot down real quick. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for all the stories. We're gonna move on to YouTube time. I will make it up to you with some Mad Libs today, probably. YouTube time. Me. I finished a draft of a script for a new video. It is about a children's book teaching intersectionality, written by 3 different sociology majors and or PhDs. Thankfully, so it's an hour-long presentation, but they spend the first 10 minutes talking about themselves briefly and then just reading the entirety of the children's book to the audience. And that's really the only part that I needed. And just the bits and pieces that they read and the stuff therein, it is bewildering. And I will get into more detail once I do the video. So I've got the script draft done. I'm going to spend some time tomorrow revising that. Probably recording the audio tomorrow, we'll see. And then I'll start assembling it over the weekend. Shouldn't take me too long, so I hope to have something posted Saturday, maybe Sunday, depending on how things hash out, because I do have some family stuff to attend to this weekend, but we'll see. Aside from that, I think that's the long and the... Oh yeah, and as I said, I will be doing, at some point this weekend, a test stream where I will attempt, if I can, to adjust my sound stuff on OBS live, hopefully with an audience that can tell me when I hit the sweet spot. And you can, take whatever sexual innuendo from that you want, but find that place where I can actually be heard clearly and I don't have to strain or lean into the mic and practically eat it for people to hear me.
Oh, so, hitting the sweet spot and eating it, huh?
I know, right? Nom, nom, nom. Hello, Satsu.
What up, homie?
So, how was shopping with Mama?
Oh, God. So, damn near every place we went to was having a clearance sale, and I was with 2 women, so you tell me how it was. Jesus
so lots
Christ.
of fun?
Lots of fun. Lots of shopping. And Squishy had reinforcements here, so I couldn't tell her no to anything. Mm-hmm. So she took full advantage of it. And I don't have a problem with it. That's not a complaint. It's just... I'm tired.
How many days till Squeetus?
6 more days.
Dude, I'm so stoked.
I am too, and I did confirm, guys, for anybody who this information is useful to, if you got a Switch from GameStop and you got the warranty on it, if you bring it in and just tell them it's fucked, I want the new one, and make sure you ask them for the red box, you can get the brand new Switch for free. Pretty much. You just have to rebuy the warranty for it. So, yay.
Cool. Well, we were just starting in on YouTube time. So, Satsu, what have you been up to?
I finished a video that I recorded, and I finished editing it, and I got everything done, and I was about to upload it, and then my mom showed up. So, that video will be coming out tomorrow. Other than that, not much. I've been out and about.
Right. And Monkey?
We did a Monkey in the Morning last night. It was one of my more random ones, and it was a lot of fun because of that. That's the joy of that show for me, it just ends up all all the fuck over the place. And that one was whew. So watch that one, guys. It was a lot of fun. And then today I did a second episode of the new Beyond expansion for No Man's Sky. Satsu.
What's up, bro?
So much cool shit coming up.
Oh yeah,
so much cool shit. I don't want to give any of it away because I want you to see it when it happens. But we're so close to it too. So
story wise or just stuff wise?
Yes.
All right, real quick.
Okay.
Thank you, Non Vitae Rex. Intersectionality for kids. Chapter 1. It's awful. Don't do it. The end.
It's nonsense. Don't do it. The end.
You know, your recitation there, Rex, would make way more sense to children than any single page out of the book they actually wrote. I will explain it in the video. I think it'll be plainly obvious to anybody who watches it. But yeah, you'll see. All right. Anything else, Monkey?
No, that was it.
All right. On to internet pumpetry, as they say. I kind of did my big one for the day on being ticked off at, or being, I guess, flabbergasted, for lack of a better word, at Trump's commentary on Omar and Tlaib. I guess the other thing was, I thought this was kind of funny. This comes from Star Wars. They tweeted this out. Leia, I say, has a mission for Resistance spy Vi Moradi in the upcoming novel Star Wars Galaxy's Edge Black Spire. Here's an exclusive excerpt of Vi's adventure. And if you recognize the name Galaxy's Edge, well, you might be recalling that is the name of the Star Wars land at Disneyland. And I said, Galaxy's Edge? They're giving their flagging Star Wars land a novelization? Once upon a time, there was an ill-conceived theme park based on a lackluster reboot of a classic franchise. Yeah, if you guys haven't seen the stories about what's going on at Disneyland, both in and as a result of the performance and turnout of the new Star Wars land, it's not good. It's not only is it not good for Disneyland, it's not good as a bellwether for interest in Star Wars in the new trilogy and going forward. So Midnight's Edge has done a couple of good videos sort of breaking down bits and pieces of this, which I recommend. But yeah, I saw that and I was just kind of like, really? You're releasing a book about this? That seems like a victory dance that you haven't quite earned yet, but I don't know. And aside from that, yeah, I guess I've already talked about everything else. So, Satsu, do you have any fucketry?
Sure, I saw something today. Let's see if I actually commented on. Oh, the only thing I think I did comment on today was David Hogg.
Oh God, I didn't even know he was.
I forgot about him.
Yeah, I forgot.
Yeah, he said it's harder to get cold pills than an AR-15. Something needs to change.
Oh bullshit, you moron!
No, God.
And I said, I know, right? I tried to buy socks the other day and had to do a background check. So while I waited, I went to the AR-15 aisle and they rung it up with my milk in 3 seconds. Trump America. Yeah, and there's a whole bunch of people telling their stories of how easy it was compared to other things to get an AR-15.
Oh, you mean liars?
Well, no, I mean like they're making
people making jokes about it.
Yeah,
that I can deal with.
He was like, "Dude, I'm pissed off. The AR-15 vending machine in my office is broken." Yeah, it's And it's funny too because it's mostly just people making fun of him. I don't see really any. I mean, there are people in here just sharing the sentiment that they want guns to be restricted. Oh, somebody put a post that said it's harder to get deodorant from the drugstore too, and they got it all like locked up and shit because people steal it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's harder to get them from the drugstore because AR-15s aren't locked up behind somewhere, and you don't have to like grab them from another person or have them unlock them from like a lockbox or something. They're just in the aisle next to the Doritos. You just grab them off the shelf. Oh, Jesus Christ. People are ridiculous. But yeah, I think that's the only thing I really commented on today.
All right, Monkey.
Oh dear Lord. Let me see. I'm sure I commented on something today. Or saw stupid shit. Most of it we already talked about the Talib thing, because the whole boycott, and they're not letting me go where I want to boycott is still just okay. Oh, let's talk about Daniel Dale. Now, I've never heard of this little shit before, but apparently he's a. Let me see. Let me get his. This is what it says on his Twitter: reporter for CNN, fact-checking politicians.
Oh God.
And he tweets this out. Trump is holding a rally in New Hampshire. Tweets and fact checks in this thread. His very next thing. This is a fact checker. Trump is spending an unusually long time soaking in the adulation before speaking. Like, what?
So he's waiting for the crowd to die down before he talks? Yeah, nobody ever does that.
No, Scribe. An unusually long time doing it.
Oh, so they were clapping a really long time.
But he was enjoying it for that time. Scribe.
Oh,
are you missing? You're missing what's going on there.
I'm sorry.
I just thought that was funny because he does go on. He's got some fact checks in there. I didn't read them all, but that's the first thing he came up with. That he's spending too much time enjoying people clapping for him. Oh my God. CNN, what is wrong with you?
It's Gawker now. I mean, I said this before the election was over with the first time around. I said CNN's going to turn into Gawker because the reality show of Trump will attract that kind of storytelling, which and there's just no way around it. But on top of that, that's just where people want their news to be like now. I mean, Gawker died as a business, but the attitude and the quote-unquote quality just kind of merged into it after Gawker broke up. So, and yeah.
Okay, I have two more. The first one, it is just kind of a joke. There's not much to it. Just the New York Post had a story today. CNN staff embarrassed by Chris Cuomo's Fredo flap.
Fredo flap.
They could have just stopped with staff embarrassed by Chris Cuomo. The staff there, apparently, from sources close to the matter or whatever, they're not happy. CNN brass doesn't give a shit. Apparently, Chris himself is friends with Zucker, who runs the place.
Sure.
But the staff is like, Jesus, man, this was an unforced error, I believe is one of the terms they use in the article. I'll throw the tweet in there so people can read it if they want to. It's not a horrible read. And it's mostly, it's not that they're like hating on him. It's just like, you didn't have to do this. You just gave Trump a win against the press here. Because now, I mean, Trump got a whole day's worth of laughing at CNN over this shit. So it's not even so much that they're embarrassed by him. They're embarrassed by how he allowed the president to clown them for a day. Like, good job, Chris. Good job. Okay, now the other one. I was watching an argument that Matt Christensen was having.
Okay.
And it's with this guy named Ryan Hoskins. I don't know who he is. Never heard him before. He's a small guy on YouTube or on Twitter. But boy, is he angry. I want to read just a couple of tweets that he wrote. This one, he's talking about how he doesn't like people who use hate speech and stuff. Listen to the words this man uses. I never said I was better. I do want to be better, but not in the way people think. I don't want to accept any type of hate speech. I refuse to. It goes against everything I was taught in life. No one is willing to do the dirty work and rid them of their toxic life. Yeah. Somebody questions him about this, and he goes on to say, If it was legal, I'd definitely wish for someone to mass murder racists and sexists. We need a legal genocide against people like that. Keep the same energy you have against child predators, but use it for people that discriminate. That's disturbing.
Yeah, but he's just one more random nut on Twitter, so.
He is one more random nut on Twitter, and a lot of those end up in the news.
That is also true, I suppose, yes.
I saw a post from Kamala Harris today where she said something like 42% of all mass shooters, there's something out there, a manifesto or tweets or something that show their violent tendencies in the beginning or before it happens. Kamala, you might want to check out old Ryan here, because holy shit.
I told you, and I hear shit from these people all the time like that. It's always the people like, bad things shouldn't happen and bad people are bad and I'm better than everybody else. Also, I wish all the people that I dislike and disagree with would die, which is a legitimate thing to wish for, because I'm a good person. And as a good person, I want to murder people who disagree with me. Cool.
I think those, if you hate speech, by the way. Now, we've talked about this before with this kind of thing. Mr. Ryan, I want you, if you're out there, and I know you're not, if anybody thinks like him, let's say, just for argument's sake, that hate speech becomes so outlawed that you execute people for it. The definition of hate speech changes. And what's hate speech today or acceptable speech today might be hate speech tomorrow. Speech you yourself have used.
Oh,
Be careful. Be careful with this kind of shit.
And I told them, and the thing that I keep trying to tell these people is you're not going to be the person who decides. You think that you're going to be, but you're relinquishing that power to the government. And once they have the power to make that decision, you can be like, yeah, kill those fucking bastards for their hate speech. And they'll be like, okay, we'll kill them for their hate speech. They're dead now. Now we're going to kill you. What did I do? You just told us to kill them for their hate speech. That's hateful. This is unjust. We can't stand for this. Too late, motherfucker. Too late.
Yeah, a far better idea is to just stop. Go get some therapy, Ryan. It just, I know we've seen stuff like that, but just seeing that from somebody be so blatant about wishing death because they don't like what people say. Jesus, fuck, what is wrong with it? Goes against everything I was taught. That's the word I think that really grabbed my attention. Who's teaching you this? Because we need to get them out of society. They need to be in a little box where we just study them. That's not true. I want to argue against that person because they're a fucking idiot, and I think it would be a lot of fun.
Well, look at the comparison, though. I was taught that you murder people you disagree with. They were taught to say mean things and discriminate. It's I'll take them. let me be friends with words.
Yeah, I'll take the mean words any day. That's all I had. I'm sorry. I forgot to tell you I was done.
You're sorry you forgot to tell me you were done.
Yeah. Usually I was like, oh, by the way, that's the end, so that you know that it's time to move on.
Well, I know.
That was inconsiderate of me.
Well, I wait until people finish, which I know is a rarity on this show, but
no, you don't. Scribe's a liar.
Oh, did you see what he just did?
That's not what he did.
He just tried to insinuate we were rude and called us assholes at the same time.
I see how it is.
I like that. Well done, Scribe.
I play two-dimensional chess. Okay. With that, guys, we're going to do a quick Mad Lib, which we haven't done in a while.
Yay.
So, which one of these shall I pick? Now, truth be told, guys, since I basically ran through all the Mad Libs available on the first site that I found, the second one has been kind of a hit or miss. It's some are hilarious and some play way too loose with what they Mad Lib, and then have a whole bunch of text in between that they could have Mad Lib, but they didn't.
Mm-hmm.
So it is kind of a gamble, but I'm going to go with this one. All right, so chat, I need your help, per usual. We'll give you the last 3 Mad Lib selections here, so listen carefully. Remember, put each of your suggestions with a little tag telling me which one you're suggesting in 3 separate chat entries. So I need a verb ending with ing. I need another verb ending with ing. And then I need a singular noun. So 2 verbs ending with ing and a singular noun. All right. Satsu, I need a time.
Is it like a time frame or just any?
You could tell me 5 p.m. You could tell me beer o'clock. I don't know.
I don't know. Miller time.
Okay, good.
Well played.
That's good. Okay, monkey, I need a clothes plural.
Oh, ball gags?
Works for
Is
me.
that clothing?
That's an accessory. It works.
Wear it just in your mouth.
Satsu, I need a clothes singular.
Speedo.
I see where this is going. All right, monkey, I need a food plural. Sorry, flood. I need a flood.
Hot dogs.
Hot dogs. Satsu, I need a food singular.
Cucumber.
I see where this is going. Monkey, I need a food singular.
Spray cheese?
Oh my god.
I'll allow it. All right, Satsu.
Wait, that is food.
Satsu, I need a type of vehicle.
Ice cream truck.
Nice.
Okay, that works. Monkey, I need a number.
422.
What's 422?
My birthday.
Ah, okay. Satsu, I need an adjective. Oh my god, we actually get into English language now. Adjective.
Let's go with creamy.
Jesus, all right.
Nice.
Monkey, I need an animal singular.
This
This should be easy for you.
well, I don't want to be obvious.
Oh, okay.
Let's see. Platypus.
Platypus. All right.
I just like that it has puss in the name.
I noticed the enunciation. Satsu, I need a verb ending with ing.
Let's see. Impaling.
Jesus, all right. Monkey, I need a past tense verb.
Impaled.
Impaling and then impaled. All right. Hopefully those two.
Oh, did he say impaling?
Yes.
Oh, then okay. Give me.
Monkey thought I planted that word in his brain.
I guess so.
Cornholed.
You know, there's a national cornholing competition.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's when I was visiting my parents a couple weeks back or whatever, a month ago, they have satellite TV, of course, or whatever they call it these days. And my dad clicks over to, like, I don't know, ESPN the Ocho or something, and they were having it was actual competitive cornholing, which I laughed my ass off just at the notion, and just as you had like two professional announcers doing color commentary on two, let's say, soccer mom-looking ladies cornholing each other. I thought that was hilarious because I'm 5. Anyway, and let's see. That was monkey. So Satsu, I need a verb ending with ing.
Erecting.
Okay, and now we go on to chat. Chat, I need your INGs and your everything else. Let's see. What was that? Orpheus Talos, masticating.
Wow.
All right, well, that sounds good. Masticating. All right, back to that window. Another one from Joe W. Blubbering. I like that one too. Blubbering. Don't hear that very often. And then lastly, a singular noun. Singular noun. And then my chat jumps and I have to scroll back up. What was that? Rocket-propelled chainsaw.
Oh.
Says Cannibal Caretaker. Sure, why not? Why not? Rocket-propelled chainsaw. All right. Here we go, guys. Your Mad Lib. This one is called Kids in Space. Are you ready for this?
Not with the words we've used.
All right. What if you lived on the International Space Station? Imagine your normal day as it is now, but in space. In the morning, you get up at Miller time and get dressed in your space ball gags and space Speedo. There is no gravity in space, so you float into the kitchen to eat your breakfast of dried hot dogs, cucumber in a tube, and smashed up spray cheese in a plastic space container.
Gross.
Then, instead of taking the bus to school, you hop into an ice cream truck and orbit the Earth 422 times.
Okay.
In the ice cream truck, you do creamy science experiments such as determining how good a platypus is at impaling in space.
So, wait a minute. Can you read that again?
In the ice cream truck, you do creamy science experiments such as determining how good a platypus is at impaling in space.
That sounds dirty.
Oh, boy.
When the experiments are done, you go outside the ice cream truck for some exercise in space. You are cornholed outside the ice cream truck for an hour or more. When you are done exercising, you go back to the International Space Station for other activities, such as erecting, masticating, and blubbering. You end the day by sending a rocket-propelled chainsaw to your parents via the space computer, and they tell you good night from Earth down below.
Yeah. That made, that was kind of terrifying.
Yeah, a little bit.
Being cornholed outside the ice cream truck for an hour or more, that sounds like a horror movie in and of itself.
Presumably by the platypus who you wanted to see was...
That was the thing, yeah. Is the platypus impaling you during the cornholing?
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for your contributions to that piece of
horror
artwork.
Show?
Yeah, horror show. I didn't know we did that kind of thing over here.
That was a horror show.
Oh, sorry. Jenna P's in the chat. Hello, Jenna. It's Jenna. All right. Well, then. Shall we move on to question time?
Sure, why not?
All right, guys. Well, if you have questions, comments, complaints, conspiracy theories, concerns, con schemes, convoluted considerations, any other con words I can think of, put them in the chat now. If you have questions for us directly, please put plenty of chat marks after those. If you have statements you'd like us to consider, please put plenty of statement marks after those. Dirty Nerd asks, do you think those vegans who are giving cows human equivalent rights are going to start a Moo Too movement? Hashtag Moo Too.
Hashtag Moo Too.
Hashtag Moo Too. Yeah, find that article and tweet it out with the hashtag Moo Too. Good job.
Told you that cunt was a vegan, man.
Good job there, Dirty Nerd. And his kitten is here. Hello, his kitten. Some names I don't see very often these days, or at least, well, truth be told, guys, I'm usually reading news stories that take up I only have one screen, unlike some of the super users around here that have 2 or 3 screens. So when I'm reading news stories, I don't see the chat that much. So if you are around more than I'm implying, I apologize. Let's see. Harvos Marvos, does it change your opinions to know that according to the Prime Minister of Israel, those two were never going to Israel, they were going to Palestine? Does it change my mind? Well, no, because at the same time, regardless of what the circumstances were of them attempting to travel to a foreign country, if it was Israel's call to deny them passage, whatever, however you decide that, it's still something the president shouldn't have gotten involved in. It doesn't really change. My complaint more has to do with the fact that this was not a situation that either required or necessitated presidential involvement, commentary or otherwise. Omar and Tlaib should have been allowed to pass or fail under their own steam, in my opinion.
No, and I pretty much, I think we're in agreement on that. I'm wondering what part of my mind would change, because as I said, I have no problem with what Israel said there, given their statements about like boycotting Israel.
Yeah.
But even with that, I would say that is even more reason for Trump to have not said anything, because they weren't going there anyway.
Yeah. RJ Bansma, if Monkey was a brand of soda, what soda would he be? Would he be Diet Pepsi? Didn't we already do that?
I'm pretty sure I'm half Diet Pepsi as it is.
Yeah. You are what you drink. Ebony Williams, Satsu, can we hear your best "I'm gonna be a dad soon" squeal? Squeal, Satsu. Squeal.
Satsu don't squeal, bitch.
What did you just call Ebony?
I think he was talking to you.
Respectable young woman.
Oh my god. Mata Winter, Lords of the Night, have you had a potato biscuit?
No.
Not that I've had potato cakes before, like little potato sort of like pancakes. But
for the record, though, I am really excited.
Yeah. Yeah. Potato biscuit? No. Potato, things. Yeah, I've had some potato things that maybe you could, extrapolate into a biscuit, but I don't think I've had an actual biscuit made of potato.
I know I've never had a potato biscuit.
And then chat jump. Non-Vitae Rex, do you guys like Sabaton? I don't know what Sabaton is. I could take from that, though, maybe Antonio Sabato Jr.? I don't know. What's Sabaton?
I don't know.
Satsu, what's Sabaton?
No idea.
Non-Vitae Rex, what's Sabaton? Let's see. No One Nowhere. Did you see that they are planning a march in support of the Philly gunman? No, I had not seen that one.
Ooh.
That is a boy. That's an interesting hot take there by anybody who would march for the guy who shot 6 police officers and had a gun he shouldn't have had and has a criminal record and was hurting a bunch of people and holding people hostage. And yeah.
Well, would it really be surprising when we did have them throwing shit at the police?
There's that too. Yeah, if you guys haven't seen, there's video out there of during the standoff, police had things thrown at them from the crowd when they were trying to just sort of lock down the area and make sure people were out of the way. Yeah, that's apparently that neighborhood in Philadelphia. Orpheus Talos, Lords of the Night, have you ever been to another country? And if not, where would you want to visit? Well, I've been to Canada, so that technically counts. I've also been to Texas. That also technically counts, depending on where you go. Otherwise, I would like to go to Scotland at some point because I have ancestral, like way back ancestral stuff, obviously, that I'd like to visit at some point in my life. And Tailed Features there, and I would like to meet him at some point. What about you guys?
I've never been anywhere outside the U.S. Places I would have loved to visit would Australia. I mentioned before my dad had been there and loved it. I would love to go to England and Ireland and actually the whole the whole UK Isle there. Scotland, England, Ireland. Otherwise, I'm not real interested in going other places. I like where I am. And they have pictures, and we have the internet now, so I can see it all.
Satsu?
Anywhere where's good food.
Not Japan?
I mean, there's good food there too, so that'd be
All right.
definitely on the list. But there's lots of places.
Let's see. Faithless says they were there to subvert, not for diplomacy. Well, then let them embarrass themselves. That was the thing. I mean, they're grown adults, whether you agree with them or not. If they wanted to go off and try to do some kind of like gloating or trolling trip or whatever, and use their offices to act like mean girls in high school, I say let them. And then when the election time comes around again, the voters can decide if that is the type of person they want representing them. At home or abroad. That's like I say, there was nothing about what they planned to do that I ultimately had a problem with. Did I agree with them? Not necessarily, but that's beside the point. Let's see, Frosted Glass. If you could see a crossover episode between any two shows in history, what would they be? Gilligan's Island and Mork and Mindy.
Oh God. Fat Albert and the Desperate House, or the Real Housewives of Anywhere.
Oh my God. Like interacting with a cartoon kind of thing?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Satsu?
No idea.
BG.
I still think Real Housewives of Compton would be a better show than any of the ones they've made.
Okay. BG, actually, I think like Survivor Detroit would be a good game show.
Nobody wants to go to Detroit.
Well, I know that's the thing. Okay. BG, so when are you, Scribe Light, so when are you going to find a woman to leech off of like your co-hosts? Wait, are you accusing me of leeching off my co-hosts, or are you accusing my co-hosts of leeching off of women? Because you could read that either way. I shot an elephant in my pants. Or my pajamas. Well, so when are you going to find a... I don't know. And also, I don't know that I have it in me to leech off of a woman if you mean financially or something, because I have a job and I work and I've got my own money. I don't know. But he's, kind of throwing shade at you guys more than me, so...
Oh, I heard the shade.
Yeah. And then my chat jumped. Let me scroll back up. Assassin of the Grace. Scribe Light. Sabaton equals Euro Rock Opera Band. Oh, well then, I've never heard of it, so I couldn't tell you whether I like it or not.
Never heard of it.
Okay. Chat jump, guys, so if I missed your question, just repost it. Princess Unicorn Nipples. Monkey, is that John Carpenter's Halloween theme on acoustic guitar at the end of your videos?
It is... Is it Halloween?
Yeah, it is the Halloween theme, yeah.
Yeah, and it's on a banjo, actually.
Yeah, that was, Kara?
No, what was her name?
Shit! I was subscribed to her channel forever and ever and ever, and I did try to invite her on for your last anniversary show, a YouTube anniversary show. I never did hear back from her, though, so...
Fuck, I forgot her name.
I know.
I'll have to look it up here real fast.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, she actually kind of left because of me.
I didn't know that bit.
Yeah.
I thought she had like a real life somewhere with a husband and a home and a job and stuff.
No, some people gave her shit because I...
Oh.
Yeah,
Okay.
It was Carrie Ann. That was her name.
Carrie Ann, that's what it...
No, there were people giving her shit in her chat because I had highlighted her.
Oh, fun. Okay.
Yeah.
Dom O'Leary, Lords of the Night. If each of you had to give up your pet loves, as in Dr. Pepper for Scribe, ramen for Monkey, and whatever the feck Sats digs, what would be your next choice? Well, I think the obvious is goldfish in my little lore. So, Monkey.
What would I eat instead of ramen?
Yeah. As a favorite food or a favorite vice or whatever.
Probably
spray cheese.
I just eat hot dogs, man. That's what I already eat.
Okay. Satsu, do you have a second favorite thing? Whatever your favorite thing is.
When the struggle's real?
Yeah.
Was that the question?
Yeah.
Probably grilled cheese.
Oh, grilled cheese is good too. Yeah.
Orpheus Telos, Lords of the Night, if you were a food, what would you taste like? An Argentinian soccer team.
Oh, it tastes like perfection.
Any of you guys don't get that reference? I believe it was Argentina, but either way, a soccer team will suffice either way. Any ideas, Satsu, what we would taste like?
I'm scared to answer a question like that.
Yeah, I am too. I don't want to give somebody some ideas or some incentive. Elvecaro 555. True or false? In 1962, the Joint Chiefs of Staff proposed a series of violent false flag attacks against Americans and Cuban refugees to justify a war against Cuba. I believe that is true, because the CIA was a bunch of dirty, dirty, dirty people back then.
Back then?
Yeah, well, okay. At least on record that has now been declassified back then.
Hashtag I'm not sad.
That's right. Yeah, I'm not sad either. I'm maybe a little in a malaise, but I'm not sad per se. Let's see. Sadistic atheist or Sidistic atheist. Satsu, if you could have a meal cooked for you by a celebrity chef, which one would it be? Well, are you asking him which meal or which chef? Because that's ambiguous. But either way, Satsu, what would you prefer?
I would like a seafood feast cooked for me by Gordon Ramsay.
Oh, I saw the first few seconds of it because I don't really care. A video of Gordon Ramsay cooking Spam in Hawaii the other day.
Oh, I just saw that on my feed.
Yeah, I think I either it auto played after something or whatever, and I was like, Gordon Ramsay, and then he says there in the course of it, he says, yeah, when I was a kid, Spam and eggs, and this was kind of like the standard meal in my house. I was like, oh yeah, he did eat things other than the fine foods he cooks now at some point in his life. So, Quinn the Cultist, Lords of the Night. If you were immortal, what would you do? Not die.
Everything I wanted to.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like, heck, I'd be a pedestrian with a smartphone looking down at it all the time.
But just because you didn't die, don't mean you can't get all fucked up. Remember that part.
Yeah, I remember, let's see, what was it? Death Becomes Her. The movie Death Becomes Her. Yeah, they were immortal. They weren't invulnerable. That was
Those are two different things, right?
Yeah, those are two different things. So
I would probably, if I was immortal, I would try to learn every fucking trade there is in existence. Like, master all of them.
No, you go after the Groundhog Day theory of immortality.
Oh god.
Have you seen
I'd probably.
Oh, sorry.
Groundhog Day. I'm with Sats on that. That would be a great way to. I mean, if you never can die and got every day to live, yeah, why not? I'd become a master of all instruments, and I'd be the greatest chef you ever heard of, and yeah.
Yeah, I was not happy at the end of that movie.
RJ Bandsman, Scribe Light, if you're part Scottish, does it explain Goat-Thrapple? No, the town of Gauk-Thrapple explains Goat-Thrapple.
His inability to hear properly explains it.
No, making a joke of Scottish language is what explains it, really. But
being a racist.
Well, I mean, it was during a stream where Tailed and his guest were explicitly making fun of Scottish town names, so I don't feel too bad. Angela Arriaga says, I too am alive. Angela got it. So good for Angela. Let's see. Ebony Williams, Lords of the Night. If you could have a food-based superpower, what would it be? A food-based superpower. Okay, I'll give you the most benevolent one I can think of. Where I could transmutate rocks into food and solve hunger.
So, Philosopher's Stone alchemy is what you're talking.
Basically, yeah.
And benevolent too. See, I'm not. Yeah. Now I feel bad for my answer.
What was your answer?
Well, my answer would be, I would be able to make food that just made women want to have sex with me and take off their panties.
Oh, how about this? Instead of Wolverine claws, right?
Mhm.
Which you take away the metal, he still has those claws. They're just bone claws. Instead, I'd have retractable hot dogs that would always grow back. So I have like three hot dogs come out of my fist, and I just chomp on them, and then they grow back, and then I never be out of hot dogs.
That's an interesting one.
That's the most ridiculous thing I could come up with in the first 30 seconds. So there you go. Mata Winter, Lords of the Night, are Swedish fish the best thing the Swedes have made? My first memory of losing a tooth came from biting into a Swedish fish. And the problem is that I didn't know the tooth would come out because I was so young. So I kept eating the fish. And then I asked my dad, why do they put seeds in these things? Because I ate my own tooth. And I didn't realize, because I was a little kid, I didn't know any different. I think he may have given me the Swedish fish because he knew I had a loose tooth. I didn't think he'd imagine I would eat my own tooth. But yeah, I crunched and swallowed my own tooth as a little kid because I didn't know any better.
That's horrible.
I know, right? And only on reflection was I kind of like, damn, that's rough. Thankfully, I was chewing through my own tooth with my other baby teeth, so I wasn't damaging anything that wasn't going to fall out eventually anyway. But let's see. Dom O'Leary, Lords of the Night, if you had the power of invisibility, what would you do and why? Well, spy on naked women, obviously.
Yep, because I like naked women.
Yeah, get into, well, no, let's see. Well, if I was under the age of 17, I'd get into, NC-17 movies without paying for them. Or hell, I just go to a movie without paying for it, I guess. Well, here's the thing. Would I have to be naked for the invisibility to work? Because that would be a little weird and awkward. I like the powers where it's like I basically create an invisibility field around myself and I can still wear clothing and carry things.
There we go.
Let's see. RJ Bands with Scribe Light. What's the worst dad joke Monkey has told?
Do I tell dad jokes?
The fact that he has children.
Ouch.
I don't tell dad jokes.
I know. That's why I'm like, I can't think of one. So I just figured I'd
You got the wrong man.
throw some shade or something. Let's see. Stacy Gardner, Lords of the Night, why is tonight's show on Scribe's channel? Well, because Satsu was not here for the first half of the show because he was off shopping for baby stuff with his mama and with Squishy. And so he asked me to host the show tonight, while he was going to be absent for the first half at least. So remember, guys, tomorrow, rather than on my channel, the show will be on Satsu's channel. Even if there is an automatic tweet from Satsu's account saying tonight's on Scribe's channel, which happened tonight, it said it was on Satsu's channel, watch out for the link to Satsu's channel for tomorrow night's show. Okay? We'll watch Twitter and keep an eye on it.
Unless Squeedus comes.
Yes, if something happens, but, we'll be on Monkey's channel as a backup. But otherwise, it is planned we'll be on Satsu's channel tomorrow night. El Vicaro 555, did you hear that research has induced fear of a smell in mice, and through epigenetic changes, that fear was passed on to offspring? Genetic memory, the Bene Gesserit are coming. Well, epigenetic theory has been going around for a very long time. The genetic memory causes things that are outside the realm of usual, like, sexually dimorphic or just dimorphic changes and things. If they've proven that, that would be interesting. Like, for example, the theory that if your father and your grandfather were alcoholics, then you will become an alcoholic or have a higher propensity to become an alcoholic simply on the basis that they were. Even if you never knew your father, that's sort of the theory, is like even things that are behavioral more than anything else will be passed on in some genetic way to offspring. So if they've proven that in mice, that's interesting.
I've kind of heard about that with twins that are separated at birth.
Right, exactly. They found like twins who like married women with the same name or like the same colors or got into the same industry, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see the report.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. RJ Bansma, Scribe Light, if you were a naked invisible man, would you be starring at staring at naked red-headed women. Yes, but I won't deny that is awfully. Well, I mean, it's pervy to begin with, but even be creepier if I was naked. So I don't know that I'd feel comfortable.
Why you gotta be naked?
Yeah, I'd rather not be. Can I have an invisible power where I'm just like still clothed, that I can still operate? Like I can just like be going through my normal day and just choose to be invisible at some point and keep walking. His kitten, that's just wrong, Scribe Light. Be nice to Monkey. I am nice to Monkey.
Everybody's mean to me.
This is how I show affection. This is how I show camaraderie, because I know he can take it. That's how
everybody's mean to me.
Because I hate you. Okay, okay, guys, you got me. I admit it. I hate the guy. I fucking hate him. Every night I gotta come on here and listen to and my day was this, and my day was that. Oh, by the way, let me take 75 minutes to talk about all of my internet fucketry, because my internet fucketry is better than all of yours internet fucketry. Okay, you
well, it is.
I know, but... I know. Let's see. Sadistic Atheist Scribe. Do you remember Gemini Man with Ben Murphy, the blonde actor from Alias Smith and Jones? He had an invisibility watch. He still clothes. Oh, he still had his clothes, I assume. The name of the show sounds vaguely familiar. I'd have to look up Ben Murphy because I don't recognize the name. Although, as far as like outdated things that nobody remembers, I had the opportunity today to bring up Condor Man.
Condor Man?
Condor Man. Now, it was... Sophane was complaining about someone named Conrad Goldman, who I'd never heard of before. And for whatever reason, my brain, being as it is, ran those two first and last name together, and I thought of Condor Man, which, if you don't know, was a Disney superhero movie from like 1982 or something. And it's basically a satire. It's ridiculous, and I posted the movie trailer to a response tweet. And apparently both Jeff Holiday and Sophane remember Condor Man, which is amazing to me. Let's see. Ebony Williams says, it's okay, Scribe Light. I hate Ranting Monkey enough for all of us. Oh. What?
She thinks I'm too dirty.
Oh. Well, would you take a bath, please?
No. I shower like a grown-up.
Okay, Faithful says, I loved Condor Man as a kid. I know, right? It's the most ridiculous thing ever. And honestly, the only thing I clearly remember about Condor Man, ahead of looking up the trailer today, is that there was a trailer for it before another Disney movie we owned when I was a kid, and I don't remember what Disney movie that was. I just remember that before it, you put a VHS tape in, and you just see the same thing, obviously, over and over again. I just remember that always preceded whatever Disney thing I was going to watch. I think it might have been like the copy of the Three Caballeros or something.
Yeah,
something like that. It was some Disney animated thing that I'd always watch. And there's a trailer for Condor Man before it, and that was my only real exposure to Condor Man. But it stuck in my head. So there you go. Chat jumped again. Sean DW. I thought Scribe was tomorrow and Satsu was tonight. Well, it was until Satsu had to go shopping with his mother and Squishy and would be absent for the first hour, so he asked me to host tonight, and he will take tomorrow night. So we just switch nights. We do this occasionally when timing is of such a nature that we need to have someone else cover for us. So
yeah, sometimes we got to change things, guys.
Yep. Frosted Glass, if you had to be executed, and it could be any method in history, what would it be? I will die by having an orgy with a bunch of beautiful redheaded women. There you go.
Death by snoo snoo?
Yes, essentially. Yeah, that'd be fine by me. Yeah.
Yeah, I want blown to death. Just suck it till I die.
What if they misinterpreted what you said and came in with like a
shop vac,
a superpowered leaf blower or some shit? It's like, here it goes, blown to death, I guess.
See, whenever you get a question like that, you have to avoid the and no pun intended, but I'll take it, the monkey's paw scenario of you got what you wished for, but not exactly the way you wanted it. That you have to be very specific in those wishes. Those kind of things.
You can't ask us those questions and expect serious answers. I apologize for that.
That's true too.
But you should know us by now.
The serious answer is, if I had to be executed, I'd rather just die peacefully in my sleep and never know it was coming. That's all.
Yeah, poison me when I'm not paying attention.
Let's see. RJ Bance. Oh, he's talking to. Is RJ a boy or a girl? I don't remember now. Sorry, I should know this.
Trans, actually.
Oh, okay.
RJ's trans female.
Oh, okay. Anyway, he was talking to Rebecca Fairley, or Fairly Rebecca. I think that should be Rebecca's blog name or something, like Fairly Rebecca or Fairly Becca.
It weirds me out when you call her Rebecca.
Well, that's what it said right there. It says Rebecca. Why? Why is it?
I know, but because on the Twitter machine,
yeah,
she goes by Becca.
Yeah, that's true.
Sends lots of stuff in.
I was reading it as it's written, so I can't help myself.
I'm not judging you. I'm just judging you.
Let's see. Check your logic. RJ is male. Okay. Yep. Okay. Gotcha. It's one of those things where I look at the avatar, but the avatar doesn't necessarily, reflect things. And anyway.
I am absolutely a monkey.
Well, there's that too. And I am totally a painting. I'm just an animated glop of paint. That's what I am.
And Satsu's a black,
an irate black male.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah. Or a suspicious one by the look on your face. I'm not quite sure.
He's Black Jesus.
By the way, Satsu, how do you like the theme?
I like it.
People were complaining, nerds mostly, that I put your avatar face over a white actor rather than Ernie Hudson, the black Ghostbuster. And my reason being that there's only so many photos of the Ghostbusters where it's just 3 of them, and this is the most obvious choice. So you had some defenders in the chat earlier who were trying to defend the black washing of a white actor. I don't know.
They wanted some black representation.
That's what it was.
Did you delete his neck?
No, see, what I did was I extended it. I extended down. I extended your hoodie down into the rest of the suit, so you're wearing the jumpsuit over your outfit.
Okay.
Kind of, but there was no red there for me to extend, so it was just like you're wearing your hoodie underneath the jumpsuit.
Gotcha.
That's the best I could do with what I had. Let's see. Elva Caro says, "What species of monkey is monkey?" I think you're technically a chimpanzee. I'm
a ranting monkey.
Why no? But I mean, if there had to be a body attached to that head, it would have a tail, wouldn't it?
It would be. Yeah, it would be. It would just be a monkey.
Yeah.
What your typical monkey, which I think is a God, I don't even know what it is that people typically think of. I used to know.
I think of a chimpanzee.
But my memory.
Whatever. Don Mallory, Lords of the Night. Did you see the Alphabet Soup people are suing YouTube? Yeah, we saw that. We talked about that last night or the night before. Yeah, and they're pointing out something that they think only affects their demographic when it's been happening to all the YouTubers. So, yeah, there was that sort of we are the special victims, they're discriminating against us. And no, they're just discriminating against every small-time YouTuber. So, ta-da! But, BG says, Scribe Light, seeming that Satsu isn't a portrait of a black man on a 2-cent coin?
Just a fucking sentient coin inside of sitting in a game chair.
Well, 3-sided coin is a coin. Just a coin. Whereas you're a Satsu and you give your 2 cents.
That's right.
Let's see. No One Nowhere says a bonobo. Is that the classic monkey, a bonobo? That could be. I don't know.
Could be. I'm a screech monkey. There you go. How about that?
A screech monkey. Okay, that's a ranting monkey. Let's see. YouTube is starting to throttle ketogenic diet channels, says El Vaquero. I don't know what that means. I do know one thing though. You know what I tried to look up the other day just for fun? I tried to look up the 2016 election outrage / fails, like the young Turks having their meltdown and all that.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what combination of words I used, none of it would come up.
Do you watch Razor Fist?
I'm occasionally.
He did a video about this where he went and tried to look up the Young Turk meltdown.
Yeah.
The very famous one.
Yes.
Even if you look it up with the exact title, it still doesn't come up in the. It's the fourth one that comes up.
I don't even get that.
It's been buried.
I get nothing but MSNBC clips of Rachel Maddow covering stuff, and actual like coverage of the election or news bits and things. The homemade small channel compilations of people freaking out and all that, they're gone. Or if they're not gone, they're, like you say, they're buried somewhere, which is just amazing. But anyway, guys, we are at the top of the hour, and thus the end of the show. So, guys, say it every night, can't say it enough. Thank you so much for coming out to join us on the show, as you always do. You guys really are the best audience in the world. Moderators, thank you for keeping an eye on things, even though our chat is the most well-behaved on YouTube. And everybody who donated, thank you so much for your generosity. I really don't know how to express my appreciation. It'll all go towards horrible things I'll put into my body that are food-based. Not
I thought you were going to say crack.
No, I was about to say nothing illicit. Nothing illegal. Just probably bad for my health otherwise. Now remember, guys, tomorrow night, Friday night, we will be on Satsu's channel. Okay? Now, to keep apprised of these things, it is best that you follow all three of us on Twitter so that when we tweet out the links, you get them. It also helps to subscribe to and purportedly also hit the bell icon on all three of our channels so that when something pops up, you get a notification. Let's see. Are you guys streaming tonight?
No. I got to set up my new Switch, and I got a couple other things I need to do.
Okay. Monkey, you doing
I might be.
Okay, so Monkey might be, no monkey skying?
Yeah, I might do some No Monkey Sky before we do Monkey in the Morning.
Okay, so guys, if you were interested in watching Monkey explore the far reaches of a progressively generated universe, go over to his channel and keep an eye out. Or is it on your gaming channel? Sorry.
Gaming channel.
What's that called? Is Monkey
Sorry,
Gaming?
yeah. Ranting Monkey Gaming.
Ranting Monkey Gaming. Okay, so go over there. Be sure to subscribe to that too. And with that, I think that's everything. So, all that being said, Satsu, Monkey, thank you for joining me as always.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone, your lives make us sad, and we will see you tomorrow.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone.
Okay. For reasons that are kind of odd, but where the Screw the Roses, Send Me the Thorns book is usually on my table, on top of it today, because I moved things around a little bit, is a copy of Cyberpunk, the classic role-playing game of the dark future. So, just for a change of pace, I'm going to flip to a random page in this. And what kind of magical word will we find here? Oh, perfect. Perfect. Today's secret word is Ripperjack.
Ripperjack.
Ripperjack. That is a term in the cyberpunk universe. Absolutely true.
Okay.